Jimi Wanjigi is a businessman, business mogul. Is that what they call him? And is now a presidential aspirant with the Safina party. Jimi, thank you very much for joining us. Welcome to the Situation Room.
Eric, asante sana. It's good to see all three of you here. Nundu, CT, and of course the viewers tuned in. I want to correct you, Eric. I'm a presidential nominee, not aspirant.
Nominee?
From the Safina party.
Okay. You become a nominee when the IEBC takes... that's when you become a candidate?
No, that's when you become a candidate.
Okay.
That's correct.
So presidential nominee for the Safina party, Jimi Wanjigi, thank you for joining us.
Is Jimi short for James?
Yes, it is.
Okay. If we can make a connection, or maybe now seeing how we're jumping into the realm of politics, James, as one of the disciples of Jesus, is the only disciple is said to have made martyrdom.
Yes.
And this is recorded. And the reasons as to why that happened are, very, very many. But there are things that he did on earth while being a follower of Jesus that then made sure he got to that point. But it was known by everybody. And it was who he associated himself with and the different things then that he was able to do. Recorded as somebody who made it in terms of that history. What are the things you are doing now that would make it possible or necessary for you to get to that point where you would hold the highest position in the country in terms of leadership that you would be remembered for?
I'll be very clear, Nundu. We have been in the political arena for some time now. We have been behind some great leaders and some poor leaders. And we have learned a lot of lessons. We have learned the length and breadth of this nation. We are clear about the challenges the country faces today and the country faces tomorrow. And I can assure you that we have decided, and decided a long time ago, to stick around our necks, to create a new paradigm shift, a systemic change to the 60 years you have known Kenya as. And we are prepared to do whatever it takes to change what we are saying. And I am very clear about this, and I was clear in my nomination speech on Monday, is an Itweka moment, a break from what we have known as normal Kenya to a Kenya that is normal for 99%, not 1%. So I can assure you we have clear plans and a clear conviction to be the James in the Bible. Clearly.
Why?
There comes a time in a man's life that you ask yourself why you're here. You call me a business mogul, a business success. Yes, I have been fairly successful in attaining a certain level of business acumen and success. I accept. I am comfortable. But is my purpose and the blessings that this country and God has given me just for myself and my family? I don't believe that's my purpose. I believe that a lot of what I am and have been given in life, by the grace of God, is so that I can do better for mankind. So that I can impart, some capacities, more capacities, make life better for the majority of those that I have found. And we've grown together. So I am very clear that my purpose in life is greater than self. And I am at that stage where I've said this time, I think is a revolutionary moment. It's no longer business as usual. It is no longer the politics that we have known. It's actually a fundamental change that needs to happen.
Why do we need to reset it, Jimi? If the situation as it has been has allowed you to succeed, has allowed you to thrive, like you say, Kenya has given you the blessing, the way it has been. It has allowed you to become who you are today. Why do you need to change it?
That is a very selfish question. I mean, you ask me, why me? It's not about me. If it's been good for me, doesn't mean that it's been good for 99% of Kenyans. It's been fair to me, it's been good to me, yes, but not 99% of Kenyans. We don't live in a bubble. We are not living in an island. Everybody is a child of God. My fellow citizens are children of God just like I am. And they deserve just as many chances and opportunities as some of us have had. There's no doubt about it. You cannot grow in an island. I'm a businessman, for example. Since when are you going to grow in your little island? Where is your market? Why do we have a country with such inequality? Huge inequality. What kind of country is that? How do we have a country today where 53 out of every 100 Kenyans cannot put food on the table? What pride is there in even calling yourself a Kenyan?
Just like you said, when the founders of Safina, Dr. Richard Leakey, Paul Mwite, Muturi Kigano, Farah Maalim and the others were launching this party, they were talking about a party that is going to be different. It's like the third way in terms of politics in the country. And it had a lot of democratic ideals. The last time Safina had a presidential candidate was in 2013 when Paul Mwite was vying. Throughout this year and last year, Safina has not talked of fielding a presidential candidate. Enter Jimi Wanjigi on the 8th of March. He becomes a party member. 21st of March, barely 2 weeks later, a special delegates conference is called of the Safina party, and the party delegates now say, all right, this new stranger who has just joined our party can carry our party's banner to the National Forum. What did you use to convince them? First of all, to even attend this delegates conference, and also to give you this great honor of their party.
What did I use?
Yes.
Okay.
What did you
do?
How did you entice them?
Well, I believe I didn't entice them. I approached them to join. And I think it's public knowledge what I stand for. And they accepted my life membership on the basis of what I stand for, how I speak, what I'm talking about, revolution that is in the making. So we had a connection of ideals. Paul Mwite is somebody I've known for many, many years. I knew him even during the post-democratic period of the Second Liberation. I think it's important you understand, I didn't begin politics now. I have known a lot of these good friends of mine for many, many years. I got back from school, and Ken Matiba was in the forefront. I used to call him Uncle Ken of the Second Liberation. At that period, that's when I met Raila Odinga. That's when I met Paul Mwite, James Orengo, Kitobo Imanyara, many others who have been part and parcel of this struggle. So we know each other. We know each other very well. And it's on the basis of that we have a commitment of shared ideals for this nation. So there's nothing to convince. We know each other. So they know the character of the person that they were accepting.
So how do you have a dismantling of the optics to let the people of Kenya actually know, if it is the truth, that folks who are putting themselves up for candidature are really interested in the development of this country and its people?
No, that's a fantastic question. And I'll be very clear with my answer. We have a situation where the political literacy in this country is not what it should be. People have not understood that the length and breadth of their life is politics. So they are into optics and into being put in boxes. We must understand the periods and the challenges and the questions of each and every election we have. That is political literacy. Then you will understand which candidates or which candidates best suit the challenges of the time. I said, and I'm the one who started this conversation, we have had two liberations in this nation. We had the independence liberation that had its heroes and warriors. And that period was from 1963 to to 1992, a 30-year period where clearly the foundation of this country was established. You then had the second liberation, 1992, 93, up until present, 30 years, 2022. This was now our human rights. We were against our internal colonizers. And we have climaxed it very well in a new constitution and have had 2 elections since. Now, it has had its heroes and its warriors. We are now in what I am defined very early in my campaign as the third liberation, which is the economic. It is now empowerment, what is embodied in our 2010 constitution under Article 43, social and economic power. Now, what is most interesting is what you have just asked. How do we know that it's not sloganeering, it's not this? It's by looking at the candidates. Where have they stood during this period? If you recall just 2017, if you recall 2013, those are 2 close elections. I said in 2013, we talked about digital versus analog. And we brought in what were being called the digital generation. The founders of that today are supporting analog again. Okay, they've gone back to analog. One of the founders of the digital so-called revolution of 2013 is now supporting analog that he was criticizing not too long ago. Okay? The other party has been part of what we defined in 2017 as the mess to this economy. Because if you remember, when we were campaigning in NASA in 2017, we defined our opponents as a driver and a conductor. And I think we were fairly clear about what we defined them as. So this is what is carrying. That's why it's got nothing to do with the agenda at hand. They have never carried an economic agenda that has succeeded. Jubilee has failed economically. That's why this is such a big question to this election. We are being told there are certain boxes, but nobody is telling you what this economic revolution means to them. So judge people on ideas. We have clarity of ideas. We have clarity of what this revolution is. It's not sloganeering. I am clearly saying that the last 60 years of our existence here has economically disenfranchised majority of Kenyans. It has been rigged. It's rigged as a system. We adopted a system where the colonialist was the boss. The colonialist, we as Mwananchi, served a government rather than a government serving it. Our internal colonizers did the same thing. This is our own people who adopted a system of governance that was about them, not about the people. Now it must change. It must be about the people. And when it's about the people, the game changes. Because then it is service, it is actual empowerment to those people. This is not sloganeering. This is why I'm saying, this is Itweka. This is a break from what we have known. It is an accountable government system that has changed, that will change completely from what we have known in the past. Not just musical chairs. Now, that is now when you should ask me, so what is your revolution? What is your economic template? And let us debate ideas. Because I can assure you, many of these people who are talking today cannot debate ideas. Let us debate those ideas. If you see what Bangladesh is doing out of this apparel sector, Bangladesh has 5 to 6 million jobs in this sector alone. Little Bangladesh. And it has no agreements with AGOA. They've been able to get out into the world. We here have the potential, because the apparel industry is about a 1.7, 1.8 trillion world industry. We have the potential on this land to raise our job capacity, because this 150 is only about 100,000 jobs. We have the capacity to raise this job market into about a 2-3 million job market just out of apparels, if we get it right. BT cotton, and it's upward trend. The other is the digital space, the digital arena. If we just made East Africa a digital hub, the potential of East Africa being a digital hub is probably going to be a hub that is the 9th largest in the world. That hub who can create opportunities for our very creative young men and women in this part of the world, to the extent of about 2 million jobs, right? Just from their homes, just on their phones. They will be able to create that many jobs if we just focus on creating a digital hub. And a lot of this will roll out in our manifesto. So that's rescue. When you now come to inequalities of income, you cannot tell me we are going to continue living the way we are living with this disparity. That some of us can enjoy a good cup of coffee here, but people do not have food on the table. We must bridge the gap. We must bridge the gap of social mobility. And it starts from a very early stage. Our children, the last 1 year, I can tell you, because brain development is part of this inequality. Brain development is highest, in fact, is formed between the ages of 0 to 5. 2 million kids over the last 1 year were malnourished, so have not had proper brain development in those years. So you can imagine you've disenfranchised that fellow Kenyan from now until they are a full grown adult. Very simple things like community health workers that will go door to door are not being done.
You know, Jimi,
Primary health, so we can go on. We're talking about rescue. I'm very serious about rescue.
There are many things. And I think, Jimmy, we'll have you again in the studio so we can, as when you unleash your manifesto particularly, so we can go item per item to look at the how. With the things that you say, this is what we need to do, and the how that needs to be done. We won't need to interrogate that. We thank you very much for joining us today. I want to give you a moment to say goodbye, because we have to also say goodbye to the audience on KTN Home. 1 hour is a short time, is it?
Yes, 1 hour is a very short time, Eric. I'm surprised that it's over. Let me be very clear here. This is an Itweka moment. Itweka is a period of saying that this is a time to change what you have known. Kenyans, you have known what has been there. The players that have been there all this time. You know the results of where we are. It's time to change. It's time to do something new. You have all to gain with something new. Don't expect to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. Where we are now is a time to break from the past and allow freshness to seep in our country.
And you represent that freshness.
Absolutely and completely.
Jimi Wanjigi, thank you very much for joining us. Jimi is the presidential nominee of the Safina party. We've been having a conversation with him about his bid for the presidency, what convinced him to want to join the race, and what he wants to do if elected by Kenyans.